Yeah. I'm just trying to remember the name because I'm sure Kura remembers this. I don't know if you remember this, but VSL, the
Yes.
versus Star League.
From
They had a this was the end of
from
the year. This was like
SC2VN, yeah.
No. God damn it, Yaku. VSL and VSTL was a thing at the end of 2017, 2018?
2017.
No, 2018. 2017. Yeah. And because they had an impromptu, they had their own team league. So I'm pretty sure Patience and Beyond and everyone from that in that building basically formed a team.
They had the Train to Busan. I think they were the Train to Busan, weren't they?
I think so. There was a team called Train to Busan.
I think there was also Notas. There was, I think Sue was in one of the teams, and they tried to make fun of Sue's second places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty much the proto BJ leagues that Africa does.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar, but you know.
Yeah.
One is by Africa, the other is by I don't remember who organized the VSL.
That was a completely different studio, the VSL studio. I'm pretty sure it was the Versus studio, whatever.
Oh, it might have been.
If you remember, they also did a bunch of darts, dart sport videos as well.
I remember that. And speaking of darts, here we are here in Nightshade, or also known as Belladonna LE. LE, for those who are not aware, does in fact stand for Long Edgar. Long Edgar. That's the nickname of the guy. I know him personally. Yeah? You don't doubt me. Long Edgar. He's a real guy. He's a real person.
What are you even saying?
He's a real person. You doubt me? You know? I know him personally. Here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it is going to be a red Protoss all the way from Jeju Island, now living in Seoul. He is representing Team Laopor, otherwise known as Team LP. We have Patience. I got the button.
We don't cast enough LB players. Just saying.
No, we don't.
And spawning in at the top left-hand corner of Nightshade LE, we have the Terran, the Korean Terran player representing Team New Village. Question mark. We have Grace.
Is NV gonna become our new LE?
Team NV.
What does NV stand for, Light?
I just said it. I just
Nautical Vacation.
Mm-hmm. Also, I found a Korean Terran player called Grace on Wikipedia, but it says they play for Team Ascension, and it's from 2015. So I don't think that's it.
Yeah, it's, you know. It was also with a lowercase g, so, you know, or something like that.
I mean, it could be the same player. You know what? I'll ask him after this. I'll do so. And then we can update Wikipedia.
That's right.
That's right.
And speaking of right, here we have, Grace going for, it seems like we're in store for a very different TVP than previously. Grace going for something a little more safe, a little bit more standard. Does want to make sure that he gets that natural up, so he will be building the bunker there. And meanwhile, Patience not going for that Stargate, actually going for a very quick Twilight Council.
Oh, okay, interesting. We'll see, since especially in this matchup, Blink openers are out of meta, but it is definitely possible.
Well, it is Patience that we're talking about.
Oh god, yeah.
He is known for his Blink stalkers, but that doesn't mean he's particularly good at them. He's just sort of known for them.
Yeah, it's not the best reputation that he has related to Blink stalkers, but He has it nonetheless, and he's a madman with him. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how it goes, as there we have it. Blink has started for Patience himself.
He's being pretty patient here. Just trying to, poke around. He will not be able to get out. Actually, he will be able to get out with that stalker, but it's slightly injured. It's in the yellow light.
That it is, just manages to waddle out, and meanwhile we do have Grace going for a Banshee opener of 1-1-1. We'll see if it does much, because Blink Stalkers can be good defensively. I guess it will kind of depend on the positioning and whether there is detection in place.
That is a good place to put the throw down the pylon, especially for Patience, who's going for this more aggressive Blink sort of build. Now Grace, it actually looks like they're going for potentially the Clem/Euthermal build. So we'll see what he decides to do with this tank and Banshee. It's actually scouting around the perimeter of his base, just trying to see if there's any proxy here.
Interesting.
But it's not a full dedicated scout.
Do tell us about the Euthermal Clem build.
The Euthermal Clem Maru build. That's
just every Terran player, just list them all off,
the Ryung build. No, it's basically you want to get two Banshees coming out. Yeah? Cure? Yeah.
Keen?
Keen?
Amanda Keen? Yeah. I think he did it.
Good old Keen. Yeah, it's, it's basically a bunker push. You want to be pushing out with two Banshees, two tanks, a lot of Marines, and you're trying to either contain the Protoss player or take out a base. Here is not quite a... But we do see that they can be used defensively, but not particularly well. Tank does get taken out here. Banshee going to be putting in quite a bit of work here. There actually is there... I think the Observer either got recalled. Yeah, the Observer got recalled after the blink up into the high ground.
Yeah.
So Grace was able to hold that.
Yeah, he did manage to get a couple of worker kills. How many? Four probe kills, so not bad. And even though Patience did snipe a tank, he did lose a handful of stalkers as well in the process. It wasn't the cleanest snipes. But, so far so good. Patience. He did have his stalkers in place, but he was expecting something more along the lines of a Widowmine drop. Instead, the Banshee kind of caught him off guard a little bit. But now that he has cleaned everything up on the map, he is looking to be a little bit aggressive here. But since the Marines are on the high ground, I think Grace should be okay.
Oh, more than okay. Might try to get a couple of snipes here, but that is definitely a risk that you're taking in the high ground. Good blinks backwards here, coming out from Patience. But in the end, this is not going to be a nut that he can really crack. Grace has transitioned more into a more defensive sort of stance. Do see a lot of gateways being thrown down here by Patience, researching thermal ants as well. So he is not quite giving up. I don't think Patience intends to go for the third base anytime soon. He wants to get damage done here with these stalkers.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I don't think Patience is going to be getting a third anytime soon. As we say that, there is a probe in position though, so we'll see if anything comes of it. There it is.
Well, you know what they say, like, you get the Nexus when you're about to push and try to do some damage. In this case, this is not the case here, but, usually, that's how it goes.
You know what? Patience, he's not your typical Protoss player, alright?
Oh, he really isn't.
Let's be real here. Yeah.
He really isn't. Good snipe there on top of the Observer, and now the game has slowed down a little bit. We do see Grace starting to break out his contain, trying to get a third base of his own. That CC is just about to finish and should be floated over fairly soon.
Ooh. Yeah, it does manage to get a couple of stalkers there before Patience activates that blink, and we'll see how this progresses as Patience. He will be having some solid AoE there with those Colossus and extended thermal lance. This Banshee, a little bit awkward here, is kind of stuck between a rock and a Protoss. But
oh, the boys have been pulled. And Grace has had enough. The Grace has had enough. He cannot simply trade here. He needs to take out at least two bases of Patience if this is going to be a worthwhile trade. Good snipe on top of the Colossus, and what is stopping Grace from going all the way in? Not a lot of buffer here coming out from Patience, but pretty good force field, forcing the bio onto a choke.
Yeah.
But Grace, he is still pressing this.
Yeah, it was looking so good for Grace pushing forward, but now that the second Colossus has come out, I think Patience may have enough to hold unless Grace is able to snipe
From
that
this
Colossus.
position, that is. Yeah, and you know, Grace, I think they are not aware of Patience's third base. If they did, then this is actually a really good cutoff here with the minefield. Grace could try to go down to the low ground, try to get that, but we do see a couple of gateway units coming in for a flank, and I think Patience has more than enough here. The Zealots are going to be taking out the tank. The Colossus are unhindered, but here comes the drop into the high ground, as well as more rally units into the low ground. Not quite able to take out these Colossus, and I think Patience has just about done it here. Grace has not gotten the damage that they wanted to do, but Liberators, this is actually a really good zoning unit, but there's just not enough underground here. The Stalkers are able to take them out. We should see a GG. Well, no, actually, Grace is still fighting. There we go. We should see that GG. Patience, gonna be taking game number 1 in this best 3 series.
That was looking so good for Grace, and unfortunately those Liberators were a little bit late. They kind of showed up to the party once everything had subsided and he'd already lost his main army. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he knew about the third base. I don't think it mattered though. Like, he was trying to go all in and end the game.
I don't know. I don't know. I think if he took out that third base, he did lose a lot of SCVs there, but I feel like if he took out that third base and then backed away, he was, you know, setting up his minefield pretty well to try to zone out the Protoss army. I think he would have been able to at least turn it around.
Yeah, you know what? I think so.
Provided depending on how much supply he had after that.
Yeah, because if you're looking at the worker counts, Patience, he was ahead by 20 or so workers, which is basically like an entire base of saturation. So if he did kill the third and killed all the probes there, then they would have been in a more equal position economically. I don't know.
20 probes. Like 20 probes isn't that much when you're on 3 bases with mules. Provided that you're building SCVs 3 at a time.
Yeah, and it does kind of depend though on how Grace engaged, whether he kills the third and then backs off, or if he kills the third and then keeps trying to push, and then how the state of his army after that engagement and that sort of thing. Because if Patience just like retaliated with all his Colossus, then it would have been a very hard hold for the Terran. But like, it could have turned out differently.
It very much could have. We're gonna be loading into game number 2, which is gonna be Eternal Empire EELE, which, for those who are unaware, does in fact stand for Exotic Encyclopedias Living enjoyably. They're sentient encyclopedias, so they're living enjoyably. Here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, it is gonna be our red Protoss. He is the Madman himself. Some liken him to Dr. Eggman himself. He is gonna be all the way from Jeju Island, but now on Seoul, representing Team Laopor, Team LP. We have Patience. Not but yet.
Not at all. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the Korean Terran player representing Team NV. We have Grace.
Neurotic Volcano. Negative Viking. Next Visitor. Nail Van. Reckless Vanity. Neutral Vicinity. Why is Envy so much easier than LE Light?
I was half expecting you to get like New
Vegas.
Egg. Just... God damn it, Yaku. Alright, so Grace going for a pretty standard opener so far. So far, he's got a 1-1. I imagine he's going to throw down a Starport at some point.
Or a Twilight Council. Oh wait, Starport, not Stargate. Yep, got it.
Yeah, let's talk about Grace. Yep. Sure.
Look, this is what happens when my brain's on NV.
Oh god. This is
isn't that salt? No, that's NA.
I can't lose you now, Yaku. I can't lose. We're only just starting the cast, okay? It's too early for this.
Indeed it is. That's speaking of early, that's a very quick armory coming out from Grace.
Armory. Yeah, that is.
So what are we gonna see?
Quick.
Oh, I feel like it depends. Where's the tech lab? Where is the tech lab? There is already a tech lab on top of that factory. Okay, so I think it is gonna be what we are expecting. Very early drilling claws. Now I feel like there are quite a couple of Terran players who are experimenting with early armories in preparation for the upcoming patch, where you know armories will grant permanent cloak on Widow Mines. A very welcome change, IMO.
Yeah,
this is gonna take a while
because be getting
drilling claws.
Yeah, similarly to game number 1, I've seen this done before. It didn't work out.
I feel like I've also seen this before.
Yeah, it didn't work out because it kind of depends on whether or not Patience has an observer defensively. Because if he does, and as long as his splits are good, then he should be able to deal with these Widow Mines, as they will be coming in via Medivacs. But again, we'll see as an observer to try and defend. It wasn't the cleanest defense, so Grace could find an opening.
Potentially, but I'm still worried, Light, as you see drilling claws about a quarter of the way done, and the forge from Patience already completed. Cannon already going to be started here for our Red Terran Protoss player. And in addition to that allows Patience to get +1, which, you know, if Patience is going for that aggressive blink opener that he went for the previous game, it's going to work out quite a bit better.
Yeah, especially because I think he did suss it out. He did go for a hallucinated Phoenix Scout. He saw the armory. He saw the tech lab on the factory, so he knows exactly what is coming his way, and that kind of leads to the cannon being thrown down in the natural. So we'll see if maybe he's not as attentive. Maybe he doesn't pull his workers. It is still possible for Grace to deal some damage with this.
Yeah, potentially. There are 3 mines, and at least one of these mines is going to go down, but that's, you know, another 2. Or potentially the whole medevac could go down. Drilling Claw's going to be having a quick burrow, and we do not have Game Heart. But 7 probes have gone down. Not bad damage. Could have been a lot worse for Patience, though.
All things considered, that was pretty good damage, and it hasn't stopped there. We do have another medevac headed towards, it looks like the 3rd or the main base. We'll see where he ends up going. But there are already stalkers.
Yeah, there are. And they're about to... Grace just about dodging this. I think it might be in the corner of Patience's eye. Should see it now. Very quick reaction coming down, and the burrow is burrowed. Even more probes gonna be going down. That's another 7 light.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that on the fly math, like just like that.
There
14
you
minus
go.
7.
Click,
Look
click,
at that. Beautiful.
Click. Oh yeah, thank you, thank you.
Who said you're not good at math, Yaku?
A math teacher.
Yeah, I was gonna say a math teacher.
But yeah, all things considered,
yeah, you know what? It's good enough.
Yeah, good enough for the cast. And yeah, all things considered, that's actually not a lot of damage done. We see Patience already starting to catch up here in terms of the worker count. Oh, God, and he's got the bigger army. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. He's got Blink as well. Patience does. might just go straight to the main. Will try to suss out what Grace has got here in the natural. There is no tank, and that's actually enough Stalkers to two-shot that bunker.
Oh my god. Yeah, if Patience wants to, he
so
could dive up into the main base, but
yeah, good scan coming out here from Grace, but now the bunker is down. And, you know, this isn't the most sustainable army here for Patience, but if he's careful with his blinks, he should be able to just win the game here on out.
Exactly. Look at this.
It's a bit of a bit ass coming out for Patience, but yeah, I mean, that's usually a big ass coming out from Patience, but he was able to blink back very, very nicely there, only losing a couple of Stalkers.
Typically, he is one known for blinking forward, but blinking backwards, I mean, really, it's all about perspective.
It really is. Sometimes you gotta blink back to go forward.
Behind him, you know, just. But yeah, at this point, like, Patience containing his opponent to 2 bases. There's no tanks, just Widow Mines for defense. We do have the Colossus on its way over to reinforce as well. This is...
Alright, base trade time. Base trade. He's a 3 medevacs worth of units coming out here. Patience, I feel like Patience is gonna have to recall pretty soon, but he will just about walk across the map here. And this is the bulk of Grace's army, but he is rebuilding.
Yeah, like, this is what Grace needed to do. He needed to pull Patience away to give him a little bit of time to breathe and get his third back up and running. So nicely done here. The army will be picked off, but there is another drop headed towards the natural as this happens. We'll see how much more damage he can get done. The rest of the ground army is going to go down, but it is the main army for Patience is distracted.
Indeed it is. There is a quick little warp in here coming out from Patience, so, and this should be more than enough, but the boost away by Grace. Nicely done by our blue Terran player. But Patience, he's just about had enough here. He knows that he's got the better army. He knows that he can go straight for it. And I gotta be honest with you, Light, I don't think that Barrow's gonna do much. Now when there's this observer here. This is looking really rough for Grace, and with +2 weapons, this is starting to get a little bit. I'm starting to get a little bit pessimistic right now.
Yeah, I mean, there is a drop in the natural of Patience that is trying to deal as much damage as it can, but Patience left some Stalkers. It gets cleaned up, and now the main army is just pushing in. There's not much here for Grace.
Yeah, it's just about looking like the beginning of the end here. The bio is eviscerated here by the Stalkers, and the Colossus to take care of everything else. Or is that the other way around? I should say. The Marauders, though, they are still alive. The Stalkers have been zoned out here by the workers. And, you know, Grace has lost a lot of SCVs, but took out a Colossus. Still one remaining, and that's going to be it. GG is called here. Patience going to be advancing to the quarterfinals. Someone in chat said that it's just NV. Well, you know. But what does NV stand for? No, it's just NV. No, but what does it stand for? I mean, it's just letters. There's like, it's an acronym. Yeah, but what does it stand for?
What does it mean? That's a better question. What does it mean?
What doesn't it stand for? Like,
but
it stands for... Yep, GG, well played by our Jeju Protoss himself. I need to turn on my light real quick.
Yeah, that was honestly, I was very impressed by how Grace played. Obviously Grace is coming in as the amateur Korean player. We didn't really expect much from him, but you know, he did 2 Maples, and his macro and his army control seemed pretty decent. Like, we even saw towards the end Grace like engaging that final army, and even though like it really didn't look like he was able to hold, or he would be able to hold, like he pounced up on the army, he turned it around for a moment there, he was jumping on the Colossus, like he made a show of it. Like it was impressive. He really nonetheless
did. And would you say like that it wasn't that long ago where Patience was in Grace's position?
Yeah, I would say it's like years ago now, but sure, yeah.
Exactly. By the way, we do have a little bit of an update here in chat, or not chat, in the bracket. It appears that there was actually an error when inputting the scores. So Stats actually beat Yogur.